But I'm going to show you a video to start with, okay? And you're going to watch this video as well. Now, whilst I'm here today to share about my story, what I'm also here is I'm an Olympic ambassador for New Zealand. And today we're going to be learning a little bit about the Olympic values. We should have done a little bit of research. Have we done a little bit of research on the Olympic values? Okay, so you're going to give me the 3 Olympic values to start with. I will ask for which one. The first Olympic value that we're going to learn about today is one that starts with E. Which one was that? Yell it out loud. Let's go. What is it? Good. The next one starts with F. And the last one starts with R. Awesome. So, music. Those are my 3 Commonwealth Games and my 3 Olympic Games, but we're going to go one more switch down. My first one was Melbourne 2006. So this is my first ever major international. Melbourne 2006, I went over there and I was really young and really nervous. I can remember the first time I walked up on stage for my first ever lift in front of a crowd which was 3,000 people. My heart rate was through the roof, I was super nervous, and I did really well. And it was a massive opening ceremony. 80,000 people in the stands watching us walk out, which was pretty sort of a special. I mean, every time I say flick, and I missed both of those chances. And that's me completely gutted after missing my last attempt to win. And I ended up placing 4th. This became my first Olympic Games. My first Olympic Games was Beijing 2008. We qualified a couple of spots for the Olympics, so not everybody gets to go to the Olympics. It's very special. And there had only ever been 16 weightlifters in New Zealand. 8 in Chinese is a lucky number. So the kuru design had 8 kurus down through the fern. We had a lot of Chinese writing on the back of our shirts as well. And the Chinese contingent really appreciated the effort that we went into to make our uniforms really respectful. It was really cool. So this is our apartment, the best of the best athletes. But I remember walking into my first training hall, and it wasn't like this, it wasn't empty, it was full of people. And we had the Russians over there, and we had China over this side, and they're all very, very good athletes. And it made me really nervous. My Olympic Games, I did really well in the snatch movement again, but then unfortunately in the clean and jerk I had a really bad day. And I failed in my clean and jerks. And I ended up placing 21st, and I was supposed to place in the top 16, and the New Zealand team, the New Zealand weightlifting team, got all their funding taken off them because of how special. I was also invited then by the chef de mission to come to the velodrome, and we watched the New Zealand cyclist Hayden Ralston win a silver medal in the velodrome. And then later that night, I managed to make my way into the athletics stadium with a couple of other athletes, and we watched Valerie Adams win her first ever gold medal. So on that day, I watched every New Zealand athlete win a medal, which is a pretty special sort of a day. I may have not done it in the most legitimate of manners. But the highlight of that day, if you flip over to the next page, was after Valerie's gold medal throw, I happened to be sitting on the start line, literally right next to it, of the 100-metre final. And that was the first time Usain Bolt won the 100 metres and broke the world record at the Olympic Games. And because I was sitting in the coach's seats on the start line, he came round and I managed to secure a track jacket off one of the Jamaican coaches, and Usain Bolt signed my jacket for me, which was pretty amazing. Yeah, pretty amazing sort of experience. This took me to my second Commonwealth Games. Who in here dreams of winning a gold medal? Yeah, pick me. I still dream of it every day too. But I dreamt of this Commonwealth Games because this Commonwealth Games for me, I was finally going to win my gold medal. I was training full time. I was training about 7 hours a day of weightlifting. I was living in New Zealand in the summertime, and then when winter came, I would fly up into Finland, which is in the northern hemisphere, and I would live up there for 6 months. So I never had to have winter, which is an amazing experience. And I trained so hard to win this gold medal at the Commonwealth Games in 2010. I'll get you to flick over to the next one. So it was a pretty nervous sort of time. There was a lot of security around the competition because there was a lot of threats that people were going to hurt people. But at the same time, it was an amazing experience of experiencing Indian culture, which is really, I've got lots of pictures. Again, I did really well. I snatched and I was winning after the snatch movement. So I was in line to win the gold medal. And then I come into the clean and jerk, and I had to clean and jerk 189 kilograms to win the gold medal. I put it on the bar, I went to lift it, I got it up to my shoulders, and then I tried to get it overhead and I missed again. So my dream of winning a gold medal in 2010, I won the silver medal. And I had to stand on the stage listening to the Australian national anthem. It was a pretty horrible sort of experience if you've been dreaming of hearing your national anthem and seeing the flag go up. So I'll get you to flick over to the next page. So that's me not looking too ecstatic, unfortunately, after not winning the gold medal. The one unique thing about this, though, is that in 2006 at the Commonwealth Games, there was an athlete, and his name was Rubon Simplice. The Games, Nick Willis, who was our flag bearer, and then the Queen talked to me, and the Queen asked me, she introduced herself and she said, "And your name is?" And I said, "My name's Richard Paterson." And she asked what sport I do. "I do weightlifting." And she goes, "And where are you from, Richard?" And obviously we're all wearing the New Zealand uniform, and she knows that we're from New Zealand. She's the head of the Commonwealth. And I said to the Queen, "Well, I'm from New Zealand." And the Queen said, "Well, I'm not stupid." So the Queen then kept going at me, and everyone was laughing, and the Queen thought it was quite... I'll flick over a couple of photos. So I had a really good experience in Glasgow 2014. I was lucky enough to meet a young lady a couple of years earlier, and I started coaching her, and I thought I could get her to the Commonwealth Games. And that's Pip. Now, Pip has just been named for her second Commonwealth Games. You may have seen something in the media recently, but Pip's only about this big. Pip's nickname is Pipsqueak, but she's 50 kilos. And I started coaching Pip, and Pip's best lift now above her head is 100 kilograms. Wow. She can lift twice her body weight above her head. And I got along with Pip, and me and Pip had a great time, and we decided, hey, let's get married. So we did. And now we've got a 2-year-old boy as well who loves weightlifting, but Pip is going to her next Commonwealth Games. And also I started another young boy in 2010 when he was 12. A 12-year-old boy came to me and started weightlifting, and he was a gymnast, and he said he didn't want to do gymnastics anymore, but he wants to try weightlifting. And I was coaching him up to that point, and he's just qualified for his first Commonwealth Games, which is next year in Gold Coast. So I've got my wife, and I've also got the first athlete that I ever started coaching, Cam. He was only 37 kilos when he first started weightlifting, so pretty small as well. And he's going to his first Commonwealth Games, and I'll be going to my last one. So it's pretty special. But Glasgow 2014, I went into the competition and I was determined to win this gold. So I'm going to show you my gold medal lift. Third attempt at trying to win a gold medal, and I finally succeeded. I went into that competition, and the New Zealand media, and some of you will interact with media, and some of you are going to ask me some questions after this, I know that. But the New Zealand media went up to me and said, "Richie, what are you going to achieve in Glasgow?" And as a Kiwi, and I know we're all Kiwis in here, we answer questions by trying not to give them the answer. So I said, usually I would say, I'm going to go over and do my best. I'm going to focus on the process and let the outcome sort itself out. But instead of saying that, I said to the media, I'm going to go win a gold medal. I said, I don't care what happens, I'm just going to come home with a gold medal. So you saw when I first came out, you saw the first 2 red lights, yeah? I get 3 attempts. I was winning after the snatch by 1 kilo over the Indian lifter and the Canadian lifter. I had 151 kilos and they had 150 kilos. And then I waited for them to finish their clean and jerks, and I put on a number that they couldn't beat me, and I gave myself 3 opportunities to win the gold medal. My first one, I came out, I jerked it and I missed it completely. My second one, I came out, I got it above my head, but my elbow was slightly bent, and then I pressed it up and then brought my feet together. Now in weightlifting, that's against the rules. And I had 3 referees in front of me, and they say, you did something against the rules. So they gave me a red light. So I had to go backstage, I had 2 minutes to rest, and I had to come out and win that gold medal. And that's a really special moment for me. I get nervous watching it every time I watch it, thinking that maybe it won't happen. But I stood on the podium in the gold medal position and I listened to the New Zealand national anthem for the first time at my last, what I thought was going to be my last major event. And then I decided not to retire, so I kept training. And that took me through to, we'll flick over to the next one. There's a couple of photos in there. Flick over. It's me on top of the dais. I was also lucky enough to be named the flag bearer at the closing ceremony. So all of those times that I watched the New Zealand team walk out behind the flag bearer, now all of a sudden I got to become the flag bearer and lead the team out to the closing ceremony, which is really special. Flick over, we've got a couple more photos. That took me to my 3rd Olympic Games. And that was last year, and there has only ever been 2 weightlifters in New Zealand history to go to 2 Olympic Games. And they are myself and another famous lifter from actually out here, which is Don Oliver, which was a real famous Westie, which is pretty cool. But my 3rd Olympic Games was over in Rio de Janeiro. We'll flick over a couple of photos. This is me having an arm wrestle with a couple of famous sailors now. They just went and won the America's Cup. But it's always my rule to have a pretty unique photo with the flag bearer, so I had an arm wrestle competition. We'll flick over the next photo. This is me competing at my 3rd Olympic Games. And last one, and we get to go out afterwards and see some of the sights. So this is what we call Christo Redeemer, which is Christ the Redeemer, which is the famous statue up in Rio as well, which is pretty cool. So that led me right through to standing in front of you pretty much today. That's my whole athletic journey. And on Friday last week, I was named for my 4th Commonwealth Games. And I am privileged to say that I am the only weightlifter that will be attending 4 Commonwealth Games in New Zealand history today. And my goal is to go over and stand on the podium once again. I have a couple of goals. One is to win a gold medal or win what other medal? I'm looking for a bronze medal because I feel like I've got a collection. So I need all 3. So I'll be doing my best over the next 4 months to train as hard as I can to go over and win a medal. And I'm sure you're going to watch weightlifting with a lot more interest now after listening to this. But it's pretty cool. So that's my Olympic journey and my Commonwealth Games journey. I used to tell these stories and it was only about 2 of them, but now it gets a little bit longer every time I don't retire. So hopefully you were listening throughout, watching the video as well. And I'm going to give us some opportunities now. I'm going to ask for some examples of the Olympic values. You'll put your hands up if you have them. We'll go through this reasonably quickly. And if you get one that I like, I'm going to give you one of those postcards which I'll sign afterwards. Okay? So first of all, let's go through a couple of examples of friendship. I like friendship. Who said that one out loud? Let's go straight in front. Yep.
When they were doing the running, she fell over